Welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev.
Good morning.
Here we are, another week, showing up every day for free.
That's right.
And we do it because we love the conversations, whether you like it or not, that's your decision.
For free with everything to gain.
That's
Really.
right. We have a lot to share, a lot of insight, wisdom, knowledge, information,
Goofiness.
We
Yeah,
don't claim
we
to
can
know
give
it
you-
all. We're not know-it-alls.
No,
We just know what works for us.
that's right.
So,
And
well,
we're learning it works right in front of your eyes sometimes.
that's right. So how's it going? What's on your heart this week?
What's on my heart this week? Well, I would say we cannot fix people. It is not our job to fix people. It's to recognize everything that's outside of us as a mirror to us, or mirror of something that's going on within us. And when we witness something, that's an opportunity for us to go within inside and find out why we have those emotions or those feelings that we're having towards something. And sometimes it's just a matter of contrast, so you can determine, I don't really like that in my life, but what would I like? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. It's good.
How about you?
Good topic for the day. Humanity's on my heart today. And it kind of goes with what you're saying. Yes, we do. It's vital we go inside. It's vital we go within. And it's also vital that we honor people where they're at. So it's heavy. It's heavy. It's been going on for many years. It's not something that just started. It's happening. It's been happening. And it's honoring the fact that we're all spirit and body, and that we're all connected. Energetically, we are all connected. And it's we're all connected in some way outside of that as well. Whether it's a family member, through marriage, through knowing someone. I think it was said that there's I don't think it's 7 generations, but there's 7 layers between, and this was said, I don't know how many years ago, but there's 7 layers of people between me and Kevin Bacon. Right? There's not, that we're all very close in some way. We're all connected in some way, but when it comes to energy, we're all connected. There's no way to break that. Energy cannot be destroyed. And when we take our energy and we are focusing it in a direction that is demeaning to others, is bullying others, is fear-based, then we are focused on in a direction that is keeping that fear alive, that's keeping the illnesses alive, that is keeping the diseases alive, that's keeping the wars alive. And that is on our energy. That is within ourselves. It was said that if every child was taught meditation, war would end within 1 generation. It would be done. Because we are teaching our children how to be. And that includes what to do with their energy. And to be taught as a child in school that this is a free country, and then turn around and now as an adult being told, I don't get to choose. And then having people bully others because of that right to choose. This is something that's been going on for years and years and years. This is not something new. Before the witches, it was happening before that. But to me, what's very prominent in my mind is being condemned or bullied as a witch, turning on each other. And then during the Hitler days of turning on each other, turning each other in. And now here we are with a vaccine issue. People are bullying each other. Colleagues are bullying each other. Teachers are bullying teachers. Jobs are being lost because of that. People are told they have a choice. You either do this or lose your job. Doctors are refusing patients. Segregation, discrimination has been going on and on and on. And it's been very evident since last year. Since 2020, things really has exploded. And here we are still. Same topic, different situation. And it is not my place, nor is it matter to me what your choice is. My choice as a spirit and body is to love you. Practice love. Is that always easy? No, it's not. I'll be honest, it's not always easy. That's why it's a practice. That's why doctors practice, because they want to get better at what they do. They still have to practice. I still have to practice loving unconditionally. Is that easy? No. When I see somebody bullying somebody else, is it easy to love those people? No. Do I practice? Yes. The best way I know I can, in the moment. And then I assess myself. How can I get better? How can I get better? Because when that situation shows up again, how can I get better? How can I be better? Am I going to be perfect? We're human. If we were perfect, we would not be here. I am an imperfect human being, choosing to do what I feel is right for my body, just like Bev is choosing for hers, and just like anybody else on this planet is choosing what's best for their body. None of us are perfect. And it's not for me to prove that you are wrong and I am right, nor is it your job to prove I am wrong and you are right. We're not going to get anywhere with that. And when there's divisiveness, that is based on fear. And when we're in a fear base, that creates problems. We are not solution oriented. I have a lot on my heart. So what's your input, Bev? I'm going to take a breath. And what's your input?
What's my input is, I think that we are perfect. We're perfectly ourselves. When we try to compare ourselves to others, or when we judge others, we start finding lack within ourselves. But I think genuinely that we are each perfect in our own individual way. I'm perfectly me. And that changes on a regular basis. I think that there's always going to be things going on because it presents contrast. We can go back to the conversation that we are all connected. So when one hurts another, you're basically hurting yourself. But then that kind of goes back to inside jobs again. How have you been hurting yourself all this time? Where is your separateness with inside yourself right now? Is it your masculine and your feminine? Is it just how you feel about yourself? Do you hate yourself? Do you hate your body? There's so many things going on that are so beyond. We can look outside at everything else and think that that's the problem, but the problem is, or not a problem, the solution is to go with inside and raise your vibration. Because no matter how high your vibration is, you're going to raise others. And this conversation that we're having right now is kind of a heavy, lower conversation. It's a lower vibration. Is it happening? Oh yeah, it's in everybody's faces a lot. I've had to cut back from Facebook because there's a lot of stuff on there, and it's not because I don't love people. So here we go with that whole love thing. You can love them, but you don't have to love them in your experience every single day. If it's an uncomfortable conversation that you're hearing every day, or you feel bad when you have encounters with this person, love them from afar. You can love them. It's easy. That part right there is easy. When you can think of one moment that was good. If you can't find anything good, fine. They had a nice strand of hair. They had nice teeth. They had, whatever you can do to get yourself in a good space, or think about things that make you feel good. Raise your vibration and then send some love to that person. Because sending more hate to someone else isn't solving any problems at all. It's keeping yourself within a lower vibrational energy. There's stuff going on forever. The funny thing is we're always asking for things, right? We're asking for help and we're asking for guidance, but in our minds, a lot of us, and at some point in your life, you probably have had the experience where you feel like you know what the best outcome is. Like, you don't know. Like anything that we can perceive that is possibly the best outcome, it could be so much better than that. So quit. I feel like everyone has got an idea that let's just say this president's not working, but they want to bring back the past president. Well, who says that the past president is going to be the ideal? Maybe it's not a matter of anybody guiding us or leading us. It's about us going into our intuition. Really, this is like, I feel like we're in this huge classroom right now, and we have a huge opportunity, because you're either going to take it or you're not going to. You got to start listening to your intuition. Bottom line, you have to. You're going to see stuff on Facebook. You're going to see stuff on the news, Instagram, Telegram, wherever you go to, you're going to see stuff. And it's perceived by someone else's emotions, or someone else is trying to control another. You have to listen. You have to go within. I say you have to, because unless you want to stay miserable, and you want to be pulled down into the muck, because that's what it is right now. Is there better things going on in the world? Yeah. The freaking sky is blue right now. I've got green all over outside my window. I've got dogs that are running around. I got grandkids and kids. We're all happy. We may get sick every once in a while. We raise our vibration. We recognize how it's being lowered. It's not a matter of, I don't put my focus on this whole control thing, because really when it comes down to it, because I'm a business owner, and if for some reason massage therapist or LMT, the Arizona massage therapy, or for the licenses, if they were to say you have to have the shot, well, guess what? I'm not working. I'm no longer providing massage, because I'm going to do what makes me happy. That's my personal preference. I'm not telling anybody else that they have to do. You have to listen to your intuition. We've talked about this before. If you're guided to go get the jab or whatever, and you've done your research and this feels like it's the right thing to do, well, then that's the right thing for you. But it doesn't mean that's the right thing for everybody else. And it's not a matter, just like I was saying, we can't fix people. It's not our job to fix people. Well, it's also not our job to try to push our beliefs onto someone else. I used to. I was going through this whole spiritual thing. It's like, Jim, you are not doing this right. It could be so much easier for you. Well, yeah, it could have been so much easier for me. The message was for myself. So it was going back in to myself and finding out what was the message. How could things be so much easier? Well, first of all, me not trying to control someone else, me not trying to fix somebody else. It's not my job. My job is to recognize the huge opportunities that are around me for whatever I witness or see. And then it's for me to go with inside and figure out why is this affecting me? Why do I feel like this? Because the more that I clear out but I was reading a book this morning and it says clearing out the cobwebs. The more I clear out all the stuff, the lighter I become. The lighter I become, the benefit that I am to everybody that's around me, everybody that I come in contact, everybody I think of, all my family that's, like you said, there's 7 layers, all of us. And then it affects those 7 layers. It just goes on. It's like, it's just amazing. But it's going within and learning how to love yourself.
And I would recognize too that people who bully have been bullied. And so they have their own internal lack of self-love, because that's what they were taught. And they were also out of control by being bullied. And now their way of being in control is to supposedly control others by bullying others. And they have their own internal issues that they have not addressed, and they don't know how to address it in a healthy manner. And so they're going to take what's inside of themselves, that discord within themselves, and project it out towards others. And those who are a vibrational match to it are going to be in alignment with that bully. And it could be that you yourself are showing up, but not talking to you, Bev, but in general, that you yourself may be showing up as a bully in some way to attract that bully, to see that behavior in somebody else, to recognize it within yourself so that you can make the adjustment within yourself to treat people better, to treat yourself better first and foremost, but to treat other people better. You may be a vibrational match to a bully because it's time for you to learn to use your voice and stand up for yourself. Because the bullies know where the timid and weak and mild people are. And they know that they can get away with this crap. So it's the weak and the mild, the timid, the shy, the introverts to use their voice, learning to use their voice.
Step into your power.
Do what?
Step into your power.
Step into your power. And so when we look at other people, we look at them as teachers. And again, is it easy? Not always, not unless you have the tools and you've been practicing for a while. But to recognize that people show up in our lives as teachers. And there are so many people who feel like they can control others. We know that doesn't work.
No.
You will be controlled if you choose to be controlled. I was controlled for most of my life. I know I don't like that. And I know I don't like to control others. That's exhausting. So I want to be in control of me. And I want to choose what is best for me. And that is in my control. I am responsible for me. So I like that cleaning out the cobwebs, because even on furniture, when you dust it, how beautiful it shines. Or you get to see the true color of it when you take the dust off. Well, to enhance your intuitive abilities, to listen to your intuition, to go within, to recognize what feels good, what doesn't feel good, is cleaning out the dust, cleaning out the cobwebs, so you can allow your spiritual light to shine, because we got to shine. We got to shine. We'll raise our vibration, be in a space of love, a high, or at least a higher vibration than what you're at right now, and move closer to a space of love and emanate that energy, because the vibration that love is at, the energetic vibration where love is at, there can't be darkness. It's like turning on a light with a room full of cockroaches. You turn the light on and they scatter because they don't like the light. So we got to shine brighter. In such a time as this, we chose to be here during this time. And the light workers, it's time to stand up. It's time to rise. It's time to use your voice. It's time to pray. You don't even have to talk to people, just pray. It's time to envision how we want the world to be. And I heard recently, somebody said, it was a teacher I was listening to, I don't remember which one, and they said, how is your world going to know peace if nobody on the planet, has experienced peace collectively? So could there just be more ease? Could there be more flow? Could there be more connection? Could there be more community? Could there be more compassion? Because if we've never seen a planet at peace, how do we know what that looks like? And as we bring the calmness, as we bring calmness in community, and you start with some people, then that can be amplified and extended out to the people they know, and then the people they know. So then it goes out into communities, cities, states, and beyond. But a practice, it starts with yourself. So we get to choose. There's another choice. You get to choose. Do I want to be bullied? Do I want to hide? Or am I going to learn to use my voice? Am I going to learn to be in a space of love? Am I going to learn to allow people to be who they are? Doesn't mean you agree with it. Doesn't mean you agree with it, but it means we can still cohabitat the planet, coexist.
We have choices. We are not victims. I'm not saying that none of us have ever been placed into being a victim. Things in life have a way of coming about, you know, depending upon your energy, what you've seen, concerns, worries, whatever. But it's an opportunity. All of it's a choice, and it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for growth. And light workers, they're generators. We're all generators. And I feel like, gosh, we've seen, so we could go back to the conversation we had a long time ago talking about a tribe that communicated telepathically. I think that little universe probably operated peacefully and perfectly. So we have examples around us. So it's just finding those examples. It's resting into that energy. If you can find footage about that kind of stuff, go into it and feel how their energy feels. Feel what that feels like. And then generate that. Quit looking at stuff that makes you feel like you don't have a choice, because we do have a choice. If Facebook, if you're getting a lot of stuff, feedback on your Facebook page, it doesn't feel, and I'm just using Facebook because that's a big one for a lot of people. If it doesn't feel good, get off of it. There's no, that's a choice. You don't have to go in there and subject yourself. A lot of times I'll go in there and think, man, I'm going to get a positive message today, but I'm setting my intention prior to doing it. And then I'm going on there and I'm getting one after another of positive messages. I've also been in this space where, oh, here we go. Here's the bullying. And then I would see more and more and more of it. It's like more like, really, you people, because it would catch me up, because it's like, we're all spiritual beings, but some of these people surprise me, but they're doing their job. Right now they're presenting something to you, because where else was I going to hear it? I don't have people like that in my experience, because I've learned to love myself more and only allow those that are vibrating at a certain vibration in my vicinity that I can co-create with, that I can create a better place with. So then it's like that was the only opportunity that's going to come to me. Well, then I just kind of back away from it a little bit more. And it's like you said earlier, it's just loving them anyways. Love them in their space, because that's where they're at right now. Because we've been there. And we'll probably be there again at some point. But the thing that's different for us now is when we go there, it's very short-lived. We recognize it quicker. I'm not a victim to my Facebook page. I don't even have to go on my Facebook page. If something, and that's something I've recognized for me recently, if something keeps bothering me, if a friendship of mine, the relationship doesn't feel right, constantly doesn't feel right, well, then I love you. And it's like, I just let it, I don't try to hold on to it for it to be whatever I want it to be. I let it go. And almost always they just fall away. They fall away. Not saying that they won't come back into contact. We won't have an interaction again, because our vibrations will be a match at some point, whether I dipped a little bit or they raised up, however it works out. It's not the end of anything, but it's like the more we try to hold on to that stuff, the more we don't allow the new stuff to come in. The peace, the feeling good, the ease. It's all right there. But man, if you start listening to the news or any of the other stuff, it is pretty crazy. It's pretty devastating. And it's like, that's their perspective on things. Who's to say that these other people aren't good people? Who's to say? Because we've been told they've been bad people all along. I'm just in general. Who's to say? There's no guarantee. That's where we have to learn how to trust ourselves. You have to, or you're a victim.
And I find, and in our conversations before, we say it a lot, is how are you choosing to spend this moment? So if there's a topic that Bev and I disagree on, and we express that towards one another, we have a healthy conversation about it, hearing each other's opinions, honoring each other's decisions, that is allowing each other to be.
Because we're co-creating.
Because we are co-creating. And what's right for me does not necessarily mean it's right for Bev, and vice versa.
But it doesn't make it wrong either.
Right. Correct. I mean, correct. And the opposite of that is if her and I go head to head and toe to toe and yelling at each other and having an argument, is that the way I want to choose to use my time and my energy in a space that doesn't feel good? Focused on something that I don't have control over her. So why am I using my time and energy trying to get her to see my side, to make sure she understands that I am right, and feeling all this stressful energy to get her to follow my lead when she keeps saying, no, you're not right. This is the way it is. This is what's best for me. And we just are spending our time and energy in that space. That is not where our spirit wants to be. Our spirit came to embrace humanity. Our spirit came to play and have fun in the human world. Our spirit came to play with all the materialistic stuff. Our spirit came to grow and expand. Our spirit is love. It is. And every person on the planet has that in them, even the bullies, even the people who are shooting other people, even the people who are addicted to drugs or alcohol. All of us have spirits within us, a spirit of light within us. There's just discord, there's disconnection from that essence of what that is, because same with me, I wasn't taught. I had to learn. I learned, I read books, I listened to teachers, I went to classes, certification courses to find what resonated with me. And it didn't make sense to me that all this stuff that's going on our planet 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years, like all the stuff I experienced as a child, I could not believe that is what was the purpose of life if I'm just going to experience all this pain? Why do I want to be here? And the light workers, we're here to shine our light bright, to help shift that energy, to help shift that vibration. And I'm not saying what I do or what I practice is the way it is. I'm saying I know that I have a word, a sentence, a paragraph, an hour-long presentation. Something that I do is going to resonate with you. Implement that one thing. That's it. Implement the one thing that feels good to you. Because the goal is to get closer to our connection to source, to let our spiritual light shine, which is already love, and practice it for ourselves, which is the self-love, the self-care, the self-nurturing. And when we have that for ourselves, it just automatically is emanated towards others. You don't even have to work at it. And it feels good because you already feel good. And you're already treating yourself with love and kindness and compassion. And since you're treating yourself that way, you're going to treat other people that way automatically. You don't have to work at it. It just happens. When I go and look in the mirror and tell myself good things to me and say I'm beautiful and I'm amazing and I'm smart and I'm intelligent and I'm knowledgeable and I'm a good teacher and I'm a good spiritual advisor, I'm a good coach, and I lift myself up with good feeling words, I want other people to feel good like that. So if you're a fixer, which a lot of people on this planet are, if you're a fixer, be the fixer of lifting people up instead of keeping them stuck where they're at. we fix people where they're at. We think we do. We're not really accomplishing anything, but we try to fix people with where they're at. Give them the resources to lift them up. There's a huge difference.
There is. And it's, I was going to say, even in our conversations, it's being open. I'm open. Before, I would have probably resisted some of our conversations and
you
felt like,
did.
oh, no, that's not the way it is. But it's like, I don't feel that way anymore. I feel actually more of an ease with the conversations, because it's like, I get to hear what you're presenting, but I also get to hear that, but I also get to hear what I feel, I get to say what I feel, because it goes both ways. We listen to each other and we're not pushing against each other. We're not creating any resistance. And the more that you're trying to push someone to do something, all they feel is a push. Well, when someone tries to push you push back, or else you leave. Then you're back into the whole fight or flight thing. And most of the time, I would say, if people aren't aware of how easily we pick up on others' energies, we don't realize as soon as someone comes to you and they're like aggressive and they're pushing, that people have a tendency to match that energy. So then now they're pushing against the person. Now each of the persons are trying to force their idea on the other person, and no matter what, it's not, their idea is not right. It's all wrong. Everything that they're saying is all wrong. And then they both leave and they don't have, nothing was ever accomplished. In this way, we get to communicate. I get to hear a different idea. What if it presents something, plants a new seed in my mind that I think something differently about the whole situation. I spent my whole life thinking that my ideas in my mind and these things that came to me, and me being positive and all that stuff, there was something wrong with me. And there was never anything wrong with me. I was perfectly myself. I wasn't allowing myself to be myself. I was afraid that I was going to be judged. I was afraid that nobody was going to like me. And now I'm just at a stage, I don't know, you can call it age, you can call it, I just feel like it's part of evolution. It's like, I'm just not in that space anymore to be what everybody wants me to be. We're generators. And for me to be the best possible version of myself, it's for me to do my work, whatever comes forward for myself, to recognize how I've been a victim, how I've placed myself in a victim. I've even seen it in a few people recently, and it's like you're like, I put a post up, you're arguing for your limitations. Well, they're yours then. Keep them. I can't help you. And it's like, I recognize that right away, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad that they're like that. I'm just like, okay. Again, loving you from a distance. When you cross my mind, I'm going to send you love. When I'm in a good space and I'm in a high vibration, I'm sending out love. I'm sending out love to everybody.
And people forget, you hear us say it all the time. If you've been with us for a while, if you've been to my classes, you hear me say it almost every class I have. What you put your attention on grows. So if you're focused on the bully, if you're focused on the fear, if you're focused on the panic, if you're focused on the devastation, if you're focused on the trauma, like you're contributing to the energy of those situations growing. And it grows. And you're using your time and energy that your spirit came to be here and play and experience life from a joyful state. You're taking that time and energy away from your spirit to focus on the fear avenue. Call it fear avenue and love lane. So you're walking down fear avenue. There's space between fear avenue and love lane, and you can walk your little happy ass over from fear avenue to love lane at any time. Anytime. You don't have to wait for the crossroads. You don't have to wait for the stop sign. You don't have to wait for any of that. Just cut across, go back to love lane where you started from, where you originated from, and embrace that more, because we want to feel good. We want to feel good within ourselves. We want a life of ease, but we're giving too much attention to the fear. We're giving too much attention to the people who are in fear. And just like Bev said, I have family. I love them from a distance. They have their way of life. They have their way of being, of living, that I'm not comfortable being around them. It doesn't feel good to be in their presence, to have the conversations they want to have. So from a distance, yes, they are my family. Yes, we're blood related. Yes, I keep my distance and I send them loving energy. I don't put them down. And if they come up in conversation with other family members, I not only pray for them, but I pray for the people having the conversation, because they're in a space to only focus on what's bad, what's wrong with them. And like Bev said, there's nothing wrong with us. We're doing what we know how to do with the information and knowledge that we have at that time. And that's what I can do. I can be the best me right now. And if something happens where I make a decision and it doesn't turn out so good, I have not failed. I am not wrong. I have learned a lesson. And I get to learn from that lesson and embrace what I learned, because when I learn, I implement, and now it's wisdom, and now I'm smarter, and I have so much more in my toolbox as I continue to move through this life. Or I can be a victim to my circumstances and wallow in the failure mindset and play woe is me. And people get tired of the woe is me story. I know I do. I'm a teacher, and people, just like Bev said, people argue for their limitations. I argued for my limitations for a long time until I understood what I was doing. I didn't understand what I was doing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to do this, but I want to have this, but I want more money, but, right? We squash our dreams and argue for our limitations. We give every reason why we can't do it, why we can't have it. And as a teacher, when people are in my classes and they keep coming to my classes and they keep telling the same story, arguing for their limitations, I, as a teacher, honor them where they're at. And I give them different perspectives. I give them different ways of looking at their situation. I give them ways to be a student to their life. And if they continue to argue for their limitations, then I honor that. I say a prayer for them, and I allow them to be where they're at, because it's not my job to change them. It's my job as a teacher to provide information to help them see things differently so that they can get out of the quicksand. So if you're in the quicksand and somebody throws you a branch or has a rope or something to get you and help you up and out of what you're floundering in or having to be very still in and stuck in, then you get to choose. You get to stay where you're at, or you get to implement something that a teacher, coach, book, author, speaker, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be for me. That, or Bev, I mean, you take what feels good and implement it. That's your choice.
That's right. We're just planting seeds. It's you. If you can do whatever you want with it, you can water them. You could throw them into the trash. It doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't matter. The thing is, our soul knows what feels better. And when we keep ourselves in places, in relationships of someone, if your other partner doesn't want you in that relationship, let it go. If you're in a place that you're holding yourself in what you think is the family that you're supposed to be in, because you're obligated. This is the way it's always been. You got to listen to your family. Blood's thicker than water, and all the other conversations I've heard. You got to do what feels good for yourself. Your soul knows. Your soul knows until you share it with someone else and they can talk you out of it. That's why you just got to listen to what your soul knows and then follow through with that. Your soul knows what's going to make you happier. We're always going to experience contrast because that's how we create. If everything was easy going all the time, we would be bored. Life would be boring. So even for me, even in a place, if I see a paradise or a peace or any of that stuff, we're still going to have conversations. We're all individuals that are connected, but we still have our own ways of thinking. We still have our own ways of doing things. There's nothing wrong with that. It's allowing. It's being in that place of I love you anyways. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you're doing it that way. It's just giving. You don't have to give anyone permission. You're giving yourself permission to just be who you are. And if you're focused on being who you are, you're not worried about anybody else. You're not worried about what they're doing. Because as soon as you recognize somebody's doing something and you don't like it, you find where it's at within yourself, and then you don't carry it with you anymore. It's gone.
And on the other side of that is the people pleaser. So the people pleaser is going to do what others want them to do.
Yeah. Oh, I was
that
there
they
for a
can
million
feel
years.
accepted.
Yeah. Yeah. The people pleaser, the fixer, the everything.
And you know that doesn't feel good. I mean,
Yeah.
if you are a people pleaser, you know it does not feel good. And those are the people that the bullies come up against and get in your face and tell you, you got to do this, or here's the ultimatum. And when you're a people pleaser, you do what others want you to do. When you are in your spiritual power, when you can use your voice, and using your voice doesn't mean yelling and screaming at the bully or anybody else. It is honoring the space that you're in with yourself. And you can use your voice in a healthy manner, in a healthy conversation. And people, I'm using the word bully so to identify with very strong energies. And if you are in your space with yourself, that you love yourself, you're listening to your own intuition, you're listening to what feels good to your body, you're recognizing if this conversation feels good or that conversation doesn't feel good by the way your body responds, and you're in your own power, a bully cannot hear you. Somebody who's bullying cannot hear you because they want you to do what they want you to do. They want you to hear what they have to say. They cannot hear you. So to speak your truth, you may plant seeds. You may. And you have that choice. You have to make that decision. Do you want to use your voice to see if you can plant some seeds, to speak from a healthy manner? Or you don't react, you don't respond. Silence is a choice. A prayer is a choice. Shining your light is a choice. Like everything we do every single day is a choice. We make thousands upon thousands of choices every single day. And I don't have somebody over my shoulder every moment of every day telling me, oh, that's wrong, that's right, that was right, that was wrong, no, that was right. So be mindful of how you want to spend your time and energy in what conversations, and recognize that when the bully's voice gets louder, they are not going to hear you.
They're just losing control. They're trying to gain control. It's just another form of manipulation, really.
Yep.
Got to honor yourself. And that's where you love yourself more.
I heard Wayne Dyer. Years ago. He was doing a presentation and he was saying, when somebody asks you a question, you don't have to give an answer right away. It's similar to the conversation of when somebody calls you, you don't have to answer the phone. When somebody texts you, you don't have to text them right back. But his thing was, when somebody asks you a question, you don't have to immediately give them an answer. And he goes, what if you just took a breath? What if they asked you a question and you just took a breath, you recognized how it felt, and you take a moment to process. And a moment could be like 3 seconds, could be 10 seconds. It could be, it's quick. And you're processing how you want to give your answer. And the other person is standing there tapping their foot or like looking at you with this weird, right? You got the head going and the eyes are all big. Like, are you going to answer me or what? That's all about them. I have the right to take a breath. I have a right to process. How am I going to answer this question in the best way that feels good to me? And I thought that was genius because in my early days, I was very intimidated by male, right? Authoritative figures. And when I heard that, I was like, ooh, that is like way out of my comfort zone. As an introvert, to have somebody sitting there looking at me while I take a breath to decide how I'm going to answer a question, that is way uncomfortable. But the fact is, I get that choice. Because if I answer the question right away, I know for me, I'm in reactive mode. And I'm not going to be clear in the way I answer. And my practice is being in a responsive mode. And responsive mode comes to me from a calm space and a clear delivery and a clear explanation.
I agree. Ponder it for a few minutes, a minute. If you need to, take a night. You know, it's funny, that process of not answering the phone call, because I had someone that was in my life that would call over and over and over and over again. It was nice when we had the old phones. You could just take, you know, your home phones, the wireless or whatever, you would just leave it off, you know, to basically take it off the hook and just leave it there. So then the person couldn't call you anymore. They did call you over and over and over again. You just didn't get annoyed by it. You didn't give any of your attention to it. And then it came with cell phones. The phone calls would come over and over and over again. I remember you guys telling me, because you were part of that too, telling me, you don't have to answer that call. What do you mean I don't have to answer that call? It's my family. If I don't answer it, they're just going to call back again. Well, after a while, the person didn't call back over and over and over and over again. And even when they would, sometimes my reaction would be like, finally, when I was available, it was like, everybody okay? Oh yeah, everything's fine. I just want to talk to you about whatever. It'd be something silly. But, you know, it was important to that person at that moment or whatever. But for me, it was learning how to love that person and just love myself more by not answering those phone calls, not responding to or reacting to the text messages. And now I'm in a place of where I ponder a lot of things. I just think about a lot of things. Before, you would ask me a question and it's like you said, you'd hurry up and try to answer it so you can be done with it. When you do that, a lot of times you haven't even heard the question fully. You haven't even heard the question correctly, because we sometimes will hear things our way. And then you're reacting to it right away. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not what I was saying. So it's an interesting process, because I've actually experienced all that, you know, going through that whole process. And it's very freeing when you recognize I'm not on a leash to somebody else. And that's how it felt for me. I felt like I was on a leash all the time. And then I would make myself feel bad. I'm like, I've got to call the person back. You don't have to. If you're going to make a phone call based on the way you're feeling, if I was feeling like that way right now and I made a phone call, there is nothing good can come out of that conversation. Nothing. Nothing feel good's going to come from it. That's why we got to take care of us first. We have a fire within inside of us, and I can keep throwing logs of love on that fire, or I can throw logs of victim and hate and loss of control. But I can throw peace on that. I can throw love on that. Self-love. There's just so much. It's a choice, like you said. It's a choice how we want to spend our time. And if outside circumstances aren't making you feel good, then just go within and then quit going to those outside circumstances that continually make you not feel good. Why would you keep putting your hand on a hot plate and burn it if you already know it's hot? Walk away and let it cool down.
And those people that you work with that are creating discord, there's still something to appreciate about them.
Oh, yes.
Because, you know, the cell phone, you get it, you can, if it's ringing, you can just silence it, right? Or the
Oh, yeah.
text, it can just sit there. But the people that are in your face every day in your work environment or at home in your home environment, they're still, just going back to what I was saying earlier, they're showing up as a teacher in some way. And it's when you're in a student mindset, then you will be able to recognize how they're showing up for you.
Exactly.
And it's no longer they're doing this to me, it's they're doing this for me. And the for me says, how can I be and do better within myself? When you focus more on what you can appreciate about them, then your light gets brighter. And they will eventually, like Bev just said, she stopped giving attention to the calls. At first there was angst, right? When the phone rang and you look at it, there's angst. There's like, they're calling me again, or, I'm going to call them back, or, what is their problem now, right? There's this angst. But then when you start to relax and recognize they're doing this for me, they're teaching me something, even though they don't know they don't know they're a teacher because they don't get it yet. But if you're doing this work, if you've been with us for a while, you get, we're all a student and we're all teachers for each other. And so when you can recognize they're doing this for me, I recognize every time that phone rings and I see it's them, I get an angst, my body tenses up. Okay, next time they call, when I look at my phone, can I just take a breath and relax and just acknowledge that they're calling me? Now I'm learning to be more in control of my body. They're doing that for me. Because if I don't practice it now with them, it's still going to happen, not only with them, but other people.
That's right.
And then it's, okay, learning to get in a space of appreciation for them. They're teaching me how to relax my body in having these conversations with them, to change my expectation of them, because I expect that they have a problem or I expect their negativity. And so can I expect to have a good conversation? Can I expect that they're going to say something that's positive, or we're going to laugh? Could I expect that instead? Could I set that intention and then pick up the phone and call and see what happens? And then recognize if the conversation goes in a direction that doesn't feel good, that I can end the conversation. Oh, it's been great talking to you. I got to go. I got some other things I got to take care of. Right? They are indicators of how am I doing within myself through my interaction with them. Excluding if you are in an unsafe environment, then you just get the hell out. I mean, let's have some common sense there. Let's be smart. But even so, I grew up in abuse. So I get, it took me a long time to recognize that the people who are doing the abusing were still my teachers. And I learned that I don't have to take that. I am worthy and deserving of something more and something better. And I don't have to take that type of interaction. I don't have to take that abuse. If somebody wants to speak badly towards me, I don't have to put up with that. I've learned to use my voice. I've learned to stand up for myself. And whether it's to go head to head with them and have an argument and tell them how they should be treating me, which they're not going to hear anyway, or I go within, I know my worth, I know my value, I know what I'm deserving of, which is love, first and foremost, that I can go within myself, say thank you for them showing up as my teacher, because that is my practice. That doesn't mean that's something you can do right now. It took me a while to get to that space to recognize this person as being a teacher for me. And I say a silent prayer. I still surround them with love, and I turn around and I can walk away, or I can hang up the phone. Doesn't matter. I get to choose. You do not get to treat me this way. And as long as you feel like you can treat me this way, our interaction is not going to happen. I get to choose not to talk to you. I get to choose not to interact with you. I get to choose not to visit you. I get to choose not to associate with you.
It helps you learn where you're giving your energy away to as well.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, that was just giving away energy for that kind of stuff. Even like that angst that you would feel just before you'd answer that phone call, you don't realize how much energy you're giving to another person of yourself.
Right.
You just don't realize it. You don't recognize it. And the simple thing it's so simple, but it wasn't so easy in the beginning, was just saying no. No means no. And it doesn't, it's not mean, it's not pushing, it's not rude, it's just simply no.
No.
Why not? Well, a why not is to someone else that doesn't have boundaries. And that's something that, learning all this stuff was learning those boundaries. Like this is my zone, and it's like this is my universe. And I don't want that in my universe. That's not part of my universe anymore. But for me, it was learning, because I was giving a lot of power away. Oh my gosh, being angry and stuff all the time. And I was like, here we go again. And, just the whole energy of it, the whole thing is just recognizing. And I'd go along and be like, okay, I recall my energy back to myself. I do it all the time. And now I'm just sending back, if someone pops into my mind and I hadn't been thinking of them, sometimes I feel like it's because they're thinking of me. So I just send them love and light, whether we're in communication or not. I just send love and light.
Yep.
That's the best thing I can do. And that's like that's standing in your power and still loving anyways. Not because because I'm not loving from a victim state, because you really can't love from a victim state. You just think that you are.
And loving from a distance is okay.
It really is.
Family or not.
Sometimes it's the only way, really.
Sometimes you do need that separation. You may love them wholeheartedly, but because of the dynamics, you need that separation. You need that space in between the two of you to be able to take a breath, to clear your mind, to get clarity. And then if you come back together at some point, what relationship, friendship, romance, whatever it is, you will have shifted your energy enough that you can tell, does it still feel good or not to be around this person? That's your indicator is your body. Your body will let you know.
It's true.
For sure.
And then listen. It's like just learn to listen. Like even in relationships, friendships, if something doesn't feel right, listen. The information, it's going to come forward to what you need to hear, but you can't hear it if your mind's constantly busy, like, oh, I wonder if they're doing this. I wonder if they're doing, oh, something's not right here. The whole time, if you're doing all this conversation in your head, you're not listening and you can't hear what's actually being given to you. There's so much information that happens. It's not from the words, it's from the energy. You see it. And it's like, there's a lot of things that I couldn't see before because I was too busy, because I already knew all the answers, I thought, or I already knew, right? I already knew. So I wasn't.
That was when you were a teenager?
Yeah. Man, that girl. But I love that girl now because she just wanted to be heard. She just needed to be seen. And that's recognizing a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Good conversation, Bev.
It's been a good conversation.
Thank you for being here, sharing your words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience, for being here. You can leave us questions or comments, and we will respond at our earliest convenience, because we have that right.
Yeah.
Or you can connect with us on Facebook at Amie and Bev, And then we have a group, it's Amie and Bev Community. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook. Our podcast is on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict. So no excuses. Your friends and family can find us. So if you find this information valuable, please let them hear it or plant your own seeds. And when they're ready, they will listen. So thank you for your time and energy, for being here with us and supporting us in what we have to share. And again, we don't have all the answers. We can just come with what we do know that works for us. And we share that with you in hopes that something will resonate with you and you can implement it into your own life. So with that, you have any words?
Choose to thrive.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.